Welcome to CIO Leadership Live. My name is Lucas Mearian. I'm a senior writer with Computer World Magazine. I'm at the CIO 100 Symposium and Awards Show right here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And today I have with me Gary Jeter. He's the Chief Technology Officer, and Mayka Thao, Vice President of IT Development and Global Planning and Delivery at TruStone Financial Credit Union out of Minnesota. Yes. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, taking the time to talk about this. About 4 years ago, your credit union merged with Firefly, another credit union. Can you talk a little bit about how that's affected your technology roadmap, how it's evolved, and how did you integrate the two systems?
Yeah, I can start. So Mayka was the overall integration leader. I was the champion as far as both of us came from the Firefly side. So it was a merger of equals, and at the time it was the largest merger of equals in credit unions at that time. They're bigger now. There's been a few bigger ones since. Yeah, we took it from the approach of best in breed as far as the technology, and so spent a long time working with the business as far as which technology suite that we're going to use. And about 60% came from TruStone, about 40% came from Firefly. I would say, in the core financial platform, we took TruStone's because Firefly's was retiring. It was but where we were then and where we are today has changed significantly. So I would say we were working off of a lot of very legacy systems. We were very point-specific solutions, and we really didn't have an enterprise architecture function. Okay. So we've done things like improved overall security. We've only Firefly had a data team, TruStone did not, so we've come in with a overall data strategy to really make that happen. We've looked at as far as bringing in a iPaaS system, integration platform as a service, so we brought in developers to be able to serve as that master integrator and reusable connectors across the board, and we've looked at cloud strategy, so we've migrated our core financial platform to a private cloud, and that's been greatly successful. So we're on a journey to modernize our architecture, and it's all about speed, right? To be able to keep up with just the massive changes within technology and AI. Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads me into my next question, and it has to do with your mobile app, which has received some praise. I went online and looked at it, and it's got some pretty high praise from users of it. Can you talk a little bit about some of the next major improvements to that? Are there new features you have in store for the future pipeline?
Yeah, Mayka, do you want to take it, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I can add on top.
Okay, yeah. So we digital banking is huge, right? You think of the number of members, we have probably 55% of our members now are using digital banking as their primary platform. So yeah, we have a great roadmap. In fact, next week, knock on wood, we're going to be launching card controls. So, and that's something that's a lot of financial institutions already have, but ours will really kind of take it to the next levels with different notifications and alerts and across the board. So that's one, and we're continuing looking at next year integrating our loan origination system and modernizing that, making that a better experience, removing friction. The way members are looking at digital banking today, it's really a 3-minute account opening, a 2-minute loan. So it's got to bring that type of friction down to be able to make it happen. And we've got a lot of fraud technology in there too. So I don't know, Mayka, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, recently we just integrated our fraud solution is within the core, so we just integrated, from a digital banking into the core to bring some of those near real-time transactions, so that our fraud and BSA department can tackle some of those more trending, suspicious activities near real-time. Yeah,
real time.
Well, that's maybe this leading into my next question, which is, are you considering AI to assist you with fraud and security within some of those applications?
I would say yes, because without AI driven, it's going to be more of the manual, right? Kind of waiting for something to happen and then you chase after. So definitely, but have to be the right use case.
Okay, so you haven't piloted anything yet.
From a security perspective, I don't think.
Yeah, so I know our vendor partner leverages a lot of machine learning and things like that to be able to identify fraud. We have on the roadmap, because credit union, we're not huge, so our BSA fraud team work business hours. So we're looking at, from a agentic AI perspective, how can we really kind of take it to the next level when we identify these things and react. So that's the use case that Mayka and team are working on, her development team. Yeah.
Are you exploring any use cases for generative AI right now?
Well, today we're using it.
You are, okay.
Yeah, so we're using it for all our policies and procedures. Mayka can talk about that. She led that charge as well.
So it's, bring our knowledge for the frontline staff, putting all of those policies and procedures into a within our solution, and then it's almost like a chat GPT. You prompt it, it gives you the information. It also ties it right to the original procedure in case they want to pull it up for second set of eyes or, or what you may. But the overall I would say results from that was from a 15-minute at the front line waiting for the back office to respond back to an inquiry where maybe the frontline member isn't so sure of what the right process or steps to proceed. It's gone down to under 3 minutes. So
wow,
or a lot faster. I mean that's
5x
speed of
improvement.
just
I think that is, the math is right.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's really providing that member experience where they don't have to wait for a lengthy time or maybe even have to wait for a call back, right? Because of course you can't be holding a member at the station for that amount of time. So from the member experience, it has improved. From an employee experience, adoption was huge, right?
Yeah.
Because being that first Gen AI tool, there's a lot of I would say the adoption of trusting a new AI tool. We had to do a lot of focus group, really learning how we can help our employees to adapt to it. So it was a journey, but we chunk it down and we did some proof of value and concept, and then really gain that trust of our employees before we do a full bang launch. So
I've got so many questions in my head about just that. Data cleansing, making sure your data was prepared for artificial intelligence. Can you talk a little bit about that? What were the challenges there?
Yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, I can take a shot at that. Yeah, so Mayka's being a little modest, right? So we actually started in October and deployed by February, and we took a novel approach. We're not going to worry about data accuracy. All these policies and procedures, if an employee went to the internet or intranet, I mean, some of those policies were dated in 2019. They were just out of date. So we put all 600 plus policies into the repository, let the large language model churn through it, and then we created basically an individual. So as a thumbs down happened, that person would go and work with the business process owner to update the policy. And the nice thing, as soon as he dropped it in, replaced it, near real time, now the accurate information's out there. Okay. And like Mayka said, we started with a proof of value, moved to a proof of concept, so 10 employees to about 50 employees, and then we went to a region, which was about 200 employees? 80 employees. During that time, we started at 23% data quality. Yeah. We got it to about 75% data quality over those few months, from thumbs up, thumbs down, and then we launched it. Rather than waiting for perfection, we just got it out there. And now it's sitting at about 92% data quality.
Wow.
So, and it just saves so much time for members. We've eliminated all the policies and procedures off the internet. That's the only place they go to do it, and it's just been a big hit.
AI has forced this, but you wish you'd done it years ago, right?
Yes, yeah. It just never got around. Yeah,
nobody wants to deal with it.
Yeah, so it's really cool. Yeah, and so Other use cases we're looking at using a large language model to crawl our website. So our chatbot would, if you asked what the interest rates are, those change, right? It would crawl it, identify it, and be able to respond to it. We're getting ready to launch that. So you think of more of a traditional chatbot, rules-based type thing. Still uses machine learning for intent-based, but now we're looking at launching an LLM type chatbot. Yeah.
How's it been trying to bring the organization along with the changes that AI bring?
Yeah, that's hard.
That's got to be a challenge.
That's hard. Yeah.
How do you do it? Do you educate? Is it about upskilling? Is it about new policies, or how do you do it?
So, you want me to go first?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no.
But we so started with the board education and the EVPs, right? So came in, explained, what a large language model is, how it worked across the board, and really from that, we was one of the start aspects of it. Now we, through a series of steps, we evolved to now we have a Gen AI class, which employees sign up for, and it's become the #1 class across, that employees are taking. The other thing is we have a good data loss prevention platform, so we went ahead and opened up ChatGPT, Gemini, Notebook LM, as well as Claude AI to our employees to be able to use it, and created a policy around that as far as what they could put into it, what they can't, and then we have monitoring and observations to make sure they don't put any PII or information. But we're evolving. We're really looking at how do we double down on it.
Yeah.
But other change management type things.
Yeah, I was going to say we also launch a digital maturity assessment to really assess our current state and really leaning on to our executive leaders to help us build that future. Where do we want to get to? So with that, the outcome of that was, pinpoint some of those larger variation as far as where we are today and work on some of those key competencies to get our employees to get closer to that North Star. So for example, some of those focus areas were like technology, right? From an integration perspective, like how far are we? Are we still a very legacy platform, or are we modernizing our systems? And then to like even the learning piece where it helped introduce these Gen AI courses to help educate our employees. So there's little steps there to get us to be a little bit more mature from a transformation perspective. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, other than healthcare, financial services has got to be the most highly regulated vertical industry out there. Can you talk a little bit about, especially from a perspective of rolling out artificial intelligence, how do you deal with the regulatory issues, the security and the privacy? What are some of the challenges there?
There's a number of challenges, right? And so a lot of it has to, some of it has to do with organizational change management, cybersecurity type aspect, as far as, what data do we allow into the model? How do we maintain it, whether it's on-prem or our own private cloud? So there's a lot out there.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of stepping into it. We're kind of,
I was going to say, I read an article, I can't remember what it is, but I think everybody struggles with that because from a regulatory perspective is, they can understand the input of data going in and the output of it, but what's happening between that black box, that's the part where you can't explain that. So from a regulatory perspective is they're still really trying to figure out like what's happening between that black box.
Yeah.
That's an article that I read. So I think it's not just financial, but I think everybody that's trying to leverage, Gen AI or in that space is still trying to figure out how do we set guardrails or rules, or how do we comply with it? Yeah.
Right.
One other point. So Kyle Hopman, who is the chairman of the NCUA, it's kind of like the FDIC. He is very more tech leaning forward, more progressive. So he's, and then Rodney Hood as well, who used to be the former NCUA chairman. So we're given a license, if you will, to be able to experiment from the regulators and the examiners' perspective. But it's tough, right? It's tough where you hit the line, and so we work very closely with our legal department, our compliance team, to make sure we're.
Have your IT partners helped at all with that? Your vendor partners?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, so like we have a partner, our omni-channel solution partner, very, very keen on regulation as far as how well do you what can you use the chatbot for? How do you communicate members? How do you send text? What you're allowed to work through? So yeah, I think that's a big aspect with it. Senso AI, who we work with as far as the chatbot for the policies and procedures. They're what's called a CUSO, a credit union service organization, which is a lot of credit unions invest in them. So they stay very keen to the regulations, compliance type things to, again, help us stay on the right side. Yeah.
The cost of AI can definitely snowball. And I'm assuming that you're using a cloud service for these AI, unless you didn't implement it internally, correct?
No.
Okay.
No.
How do you reel those in? Because one of the things that I think a lot of organizations don't understand is every time you offer a prompt, every time you get a response, you've got to pay for that.
Yeah.
And if employees aren't trained to not ask the exact same questions, they're trained to ask pointed questions. Or you store some of the answers so that you can reuse them, the costs can really get out of control. How have you dealt with the costs?
I mean, with Senso.
Yeah. So today we leverage, it's a company called Senso AI. They're out of Toronto, Canada. So we have a fixed cost with them. And so as far as policies and procedures. Now, you bring up a really interesting point. As we start looking at, we're doing a kind of a spike out where we're going to build a language talker, right? So you could talk to your data, give me a data set that's members in Wisconsin that have a balance over X, Y, and then marketing can get that data out. We have not figured out the costing yet, so we're that's going to be a big aspect of it.
You're not alone.
Yeah, we haven't figured it out.
Everyone's dealing with that part of it.
But the proof of concept, we'll step into it, learn from it, and then we'll look at, how do we judge it from there.
Sure. Skills gaps. Are you seeing them, and what are the biggest skills gaps you're dealing with now? I'll say this. There was a time when a computer science degree was truly valued. And today I'm hearing from a lot of executives, they want more of the soft skill sets, the certifications. And some of those are lacking, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence and some of the newer technologies. Have you been struggling with that at all, getting kind of soft skill potential into your company?
I mean, from my perspective, no, not at this point. Okay. So I know Mayka's team uses Claude, essentially Cursor for development, and that's been super helpful. Okay. So I think it's just sped up things relative to this area. Now, could there be a skills gap in the future? Absolutely, but we don't have enough developers. We don't have, so it's not, we don't have enough, within IT. So if anything, this is just going to make folks' jobs easier.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we're.
I've heard that as well. Have you been using AI-assisted development at all, software development, or is it called Jive development? Or yeah.
No, not Jive, but I mean, to Gary's point, we've tried using other AI tool like, Cursor, trying to have the development team explore, hey, what are some of those AI tools that we can use to help us develop a little bit faster?
Yeah, we just had a developer go to a hackathon that essentially leveraged the Gemini API to build a fraud detection bot for, and again, that was what, 2 days, 3 days over a weekend. It's not ready for production, but it just showed you the art of the possible and how quickly those things can be built, and you know how prompting can help that. Yeah.
Yeah, what I've heard for people who use it, it takes care of the grunt work so that you can be more creative.
Yeah.
Okay, fun question.
Okay.
What's your favorite tech gadget or app right now? And it can be personal or professional.
Yeah.
You wanna go?
Well, my favorite is actually ChatGPT, the voice. So I'll drive to work. I'll get that voice talking to ChatGPT and like, you know, hey, you know, tell me about digital assets. You know, what's going on in that space. Tell me, you know, the Genius Act. You know, give me more information. So I mean, as far as preparing for things and like help me plan my day here. So it's like a brainstorming companion on my very unjoyful commute. So that's the thing that I'm really having a lot of fun for. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's Notebook LM.
What is it, I'm sorry?
Notebook LM. Yes. I use it for deep research. I use it to like, you know, big articles or where I can just feed it in and then give me, you know, a one-pager summary, that white paper, so to speak. So that's been helpful.
Are you familiar with Notebook LM?
I'm not, and I do use ChatGPT to give me summaries of long reports.
Yeah. Notebook LM, you can make a podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of a document. Yeah, it's like so if you wanted to consume a document, it makes it into a podcast. It has 2, you know, I guess avatars that are talking back and forth. It works brilliantly. Yeah.
Notebook LM, mental note.
Yeah, it's Google. It's a Google tool.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna have to check that out. Look, thank you so very much for taking the time today. I know you've got a lot of stuff going on. I hope you enjoy this event, and we really appreciate all your insights into the AI and other technology.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.